one very obnoxious CEO of Bharat Pair. Because no professors in the world has been an entrepreneur. The Birla, a Tata, this, that, not in Ambani. Maybe 10 trillion by 2032. The higher the monkey goes, the more his bottom is seen. The markets punish everybody. There's no bigger person than the market.
Between two amazing humans. The moderator for this session, the living legend, Mr. Mohandas Pai. The co-founder and the man himself, Mr. Shesh.
The topic we would be discussing is how to succeed as an entrepreneur. And given the experience that you have got, today a lot of entrepreneurs, of course, are much younger than you, like somebody like me or somebody in 20s and 30s, and we need advice from you. So we'll take that as the topic. And so one of the key things I would want to put in is, as your own career, you have done law, you have been a CA, you started working at Infosys. So the way I would say is that you kind of joined in a little later point, but came to a point where you are more or less seen as a co-founder in that sense. How did that experience prepare you to think like an entrepreneur?
Shesh, first of all, every entrepreneur should have a dream. You should have a dream of what you want to achieve in your life. And the dream should be all-encompassing. You should have the passion for it, and you should live the dream every single day. Second, if you're an entrepreneur, you are in business. That means you must have a product or a service that people want. You must be very clear, why do people want that? And what is it you're offering which is very unique? And the third, you must make sure that you give something to people which is very unique. It cannot be something which they can get anywhere, like buying a Parle biscuit bar somewhere. I know that's entrepreneurship. Next is, you must work on the delivery mechanism to make sure that you can deliver. Create a team, be a leader. And being a leader is very difficult. Being a leader means you must lead by example. You must stand up as somebody others should trust. You must be the first to office, the last to go. You must work the hardest, the smartest. You must sacrifice the most. So you get the respect of people whom you lead. And then once you are able to create a team, enthuse them to work by subduing your ego and making them feel important, but at the same time making sure they're able to deliver. Give them that passion and energy, because every human being has got a dream, every human being is passionate. You must give them that ability to work and to achieve. And then make sure the team works, you're able to raise money. I know it sounds easy, but this is what you ought to do. But the most important thing is your dream, your ability to communicate, your ability to be a leader, perseverance, never give up, the strength to keep going, and you'll be successful sooner or later.
Good. Yes, I think those are a lot of key characteristics that's required. See, one of the interesting thing which I'm sure you would have noticed, even I have noticed, being younger than you, what I could see when I passed out in 2003 to now, entrepreneurship has a lot more hype and glamour. 2003, when I was trying to be an entrepreneur, everybody was like, hey, why are you doing that? Now it almost looks like everybody is like, hey, you should become an entrepreneur, right? So there is a certain glamour that has come in, which may be even attracting people who are not ready to be an entrepreneur to become an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, I think so, because see, today's society has changed. First of all, we are a much richer society. When I was growing up, we didn't have much income, didn't have much money. We were working on survival. Now, people who are entrepreneurs don't have to look after the living for food or shelter. I mean, they got enough skills, they're educated, they got enough network from the parents or whatever it is, so they can take the risk. So the risk-taking ability has come up. The next thing is, there have been a lot more successes as entrepreneurs. When we are growing up, there's a Birla, a Tata, this, that, not in Ambani those days. They're all there, and they've been family enterprises. Because we don't have a licensed quota, Raj. It's a free economy, there is capital available, many things. For example, when you went out, you could raise capital. I don't think your parents could raise capital. You could raise capital, you could raise investment. And you didn't have to work for a living to support your parents. You didn't have to work for a living to support your siblings. Your family circumstance was different. And then there are role models. So many unicorn founders have come. So many people have become successful. So all of them say, why not me? And they're willing to take the risk. And you take the risk, it works for 2-3 years. It doesn't work for 2-3 years, you decide something else. Right? So the risk-taking ability has come up. Society has changed. And that's why you see many people. Yes, many will fail. But the experience of being an entrepreneur and failing is much greater than the experience of working somewhere and doing the same thing every day for years.
That's very interesting. One thing I would want to ask you is, you are an amazing numbers person. You have worked on documents, you keep releasing a lot of influential documents that we all keep reading, like Vision 2030, etc. So you have a fair idea on the lot of statistics that we have. One of the things I see is that there's a lot of prediction. The number of entrepreneurs will come out now over next 5 years in 2025, 2030. The prediction of number of entrepreneurship is like so high. I wonder, does our economy need so many entrepreneurs? Can it sustain so many entrepreneurs? Is something, that comes up to my mind.
No, I think we need more entrepreneurs because, listen, we are a $3.15 trillion economy. We could be $5 trillion by 2026, maybe $10 trillion by 2032. We'll add to a GDP in the next 4 years what we have added, 4 or 5 years, what we added in the past 75 years. That is enormous. You'll be very surprised, Shesh. In fiscal 2022, we added 36 lakh crore to GDP, $500 billion. This year, we will add another about nearly 40 lakh crores to a GDP, $450 billion because the rupee has depreciated. So we are adding so much to a GDP. So the opportunities are wide. The opportunities are much bigger. So when the economy is growing, things are becoming much bigger, opportunities are much bigger. So I think there's room for much more. So I don't think we have an excess of entrepreneurs, we have a shortage.
Okay, it's amazing. Another question I would like to know, from your experience, you have been seeing things from 80s, 90s, through the decades. If you would look, let's say, 10 years back, what you would have, given the research you do and documents you release, what were you expecting that we will be today in 2023? Do you think it's matching up or it's beating, or where do we stand?
Well, I think we are 1 or 2 years behind what we ought to be because of COVID. So I think we are growing at 7-8%. Let me give some data, Sesh. I think it's important to have data. In 1950, when India became free, we were the richest economy in Asia because China was destroyed by the war. They had a civil war for nearly 100 years. And then Japan was destroyed, Southeast Asia was destroyed, India was the only economy standing in Asia. Of the 5 richest families in Asia, 3 were Indian. Great Britain owed us £1.5 billion of that money at the time when rupee was equal to $1. 1 rupee is $1, okay? Owed to us for the war effort. But in 1950, when you got a constitution, Pandit Nehru brought in a socialistic economy where they brought in licensed quota Raj and hurt the Indian entrepreneur. He suppressed private capital. So we did not grow. He wanted only the public sector, and state didn't allow private sector to come up. Throughout India's history, and we have been the richest economy in the world for 1,000 years. 1,000 years. Richest economy in the world. We have always been rich. We have had water, we had surpluses, we had philosophy, we had education, we had universities. We had 13 great universities when the Europeans were running around naked in the, fighting each other. It is a very big civilization. We are conquered and we are suppressed and we are looted. All that has happened. So he suppressed private capital. So from 1950 to 1980, we grew at about, then Indira continued that, we grew at 3.5%, population grew at 2.5%, Asia grew at 6.5%, the world grew at 4.5%. We became poorer in 1980 on a comparative basis compared to 1950. 1980 we opened up, 1980 to 1990 we grew at 5.5% in dollar terms, and the population grew at 2.25%, debt grew from 20 billion to 80 billion. So 1991 we are broke. 1991 we opened up, we were $275 billion GDP. We have gone to $3.15 trillion GDP by 22. We have grown 8.2% a year in dollar terms for 31 years. Which country has grown at 8.2% a year in dollar terms for 31 years? Only China. We have grown so much. So we are going to grow. Our PPP today is $11 trillion. China is $20 trillion in GDP. PPP is 31. United States 23. We're the 3rd largest economy in PPP. We are underpriced. In every facet of production, we are among the top 3 to 4. We produce 125 million tons of steel, 2nd largest. 450 million tons of cement, 2nd largest. We produce 4.25 million cars, 3rd largest. 18 million two-wheelers, largest in the world. We have 1 billion square feet of space being built up, among the top 2 after China. 3rd largest electricity consumption, right? 325 million tons of cereals, 2nd largest. 350 million tons of fruits, 2nd largest after Brazil. 36 million tons of sugar, largest. Largest in spices. 230 million tons of milk, largest. Man, we are a major economy. Yes, we are poor because we got a lot of poor people. Out of 1.4 billion people, 400 million people earn $5,000 a year. 1 billion earn $1,000. Out of 400 million, 100 million earn $10,000 a year. The balance 300 million earn about $3,500. That's why we're 3.15 trillion. You must look at the 400 million consuming class, and the income is growing 8 to 9%. We've done well. There's huge growth, and we still started. So I'm very optimistic of my country. Extremely optimistic. Every day I wake up with a lot of passion. Things are going to happen, and that's why when I see people like you, I get more happy. People like you, like Anil and others, I feel very happy. The young people coming and doing good, and it's fantastic. In my office, 800 startups come asking for capital every month. 800. 800. India has got 85,000 startups. This is an amazing country.
That was amazing set of statistics. I'll watch the video in slow motion.
No, we must be proud of this country, except the roads are bad, the city is corrupt, there's trash on the road, there's a traffic problem, all that is there. What to do? We have to solve the problem. You know, Murthy used to tell us a story. There's a young man who came from a remote area in England and went to London and told everybody that, sir, I heard that the streets of London are paved with gold. So he went around looking. He couldn't find it. So he met a person and said, sir, I heard the streets of London are paved with gold. I have not found it. Then the person told a young man, the streets of London are not paved with gold. Then he said, young man, the streets of London are not paved. And young man, you are supposed to come and pave the road. So all of you have to grow this country.
Absolutely. It's amazing. Talking of the Indian economy, there's one curious thing I have. One is that, I've also been traveling a bit to UAE, etc. And I've been meeting people who have been going to Singapore and all. More about the recent economy. I keep reading all the time about slowdown, what's happening, layoffs across, especially in US, etc. But being an entrepreneur in India who is kind of in touch with the ground reality, and also, of course, my brother runs 2 pubs, and right? Any pubs you go, there are no seats. Like what I see on, there is so much traffic on ground. As an entrepreneur, I see that, I have no shortage of leads coming in. But everywhere people are saying slow down, and and people are saying around the world things are changing and things are slowing. But why is India looking so resilient? Is it going to happen a little slow for us, or we will actually weather it very well?
See, the world is in a mess because the developed countries have printed $25 trillion from 2008 in the economic crisis and in the stimulus for COVID. So there's too much of liquidity. One. Second, because the Ukraine war, their inflation has gone to 10%. UK has got 10% inflation. So cost of living has gone up. They can't afford that. It's too expensive for them. Oil price went up. And the third thing what has happened is, because of the COVID disruption, supply chain is gone for a 6. So supply chain is gone because China was shut down, and China has 25% of the world's manufacturing. So there is disruption. And this disruption leading to dislocation, and high inflation is coming up. To control inflation, they're raising interest rates. Interest rates have gone to 4.5% in the US for short term, as against 1%. And that means mortgages have gone up, costs have gone up. So everything is in a mess. Things have to settle down. As far as India is concerned, our banking industry has come out of the NPA. They're in good shape. They're lending 17% more this year than compared to last year. The economy is growing at 6.5-7%. Roads are being built. We are spending 30% of GDP on investment. That is $900 billion. Tax revenues in 2022 went up by 5 lakh crores compared to the budget. This year, compared to the budget, they're going to grow up by 3 to 4 lakh crores. We're collecting more taxes, and things are happening. But such a large country, whatever you do, it's going to take a long time to see an improvement. See, when Singapore was being built, Lee Kuan Yew did a very smart thing. He built an airport, built a beautiful road from the airport to the best hotel in town, called foreign investors. They all came in, landed, went round, stayed in the hotel, signed, and said, great place. I mean, our people are not smart enough to do that. We built that airport, we didn't build the overhead road for 2 years. We built the airport, we didn't build a metro, now we are building. You understand what it is? So we have to learn how to work, how to attract investment in this country. And we are a very large 1.4 billion people. There is no country in the world, barring China, with such a large population, which has done well in a short period of time. We graduate 1 crore young people every year. 1 crore people come out of colleges every year. We got 3.8 crore people in college. But yet 27% of young people in 18 to 23 go to college. If 50% go to college, like in developed countries, we will have 7.5 crore people in college. Can you imagine the situation? We have 26.5 crore children in school. It is larger than the population of all countries except China and the United States. Now, can you have a high quality education for 26.5 crore children? It's impossible. Nobody in the world has done it. Nobody in history has done it. Yet we beat ourselves. Everything is bad. Everything is this. Let's be realistic.
Cool. So I'll take a few questions. So we have a QR code using which people are sending questions. My team was shortlisting it. I'll just go through. So one question is, how does one start? Colleges promote jobs and packages, and no one actually teaches how to start or promote. How do we change that?
Sesh, you have to have a problem-solving attitude. You got to identify a problem and come with a solution. Who taught you to be an entrepreneur? Did anybody teach you? How did you become an entrepreneur? You found that people were starting businesses, they don't have space. You said, I'm going to provide the space, am I right? Then you started long time ago, said, I will build everything. Then you found it takes too much of capital. Then you said, I'm going to lease it out. Then you got hit, but you stayed the course. You raised capital, you did it. Now you are the biggest, you got 30,000 seats. But it took you 10 years. 10 years?
8 years.
8 years, blood, sweat and tears. Am I right? But you stuck to it, that's it. Identify a problem, start solving it, learn on the job and do it. Nobody is going to teach you how to be an entrepreneur because no professor in the world has been an entrepreneur. That's why he's a professor. If he's an entrepreneur, he won't be teaching you.
Interesting. Yes, that's I really agree with most of it. One more question is, what do you like or dislike the most about Indian entrepreneurs?
Well, what I dislike is arrogance. What I dislike is spending investors' money on buying cars and having parties and boozing and all that. What I dislike is not having respect for others. You've seen that one very obnoxious CEO of Bharat Pay, right? To look at the way he behaves, he acts, he spends 70 crores of company money. I dislike that because investment is an act of trust. Sesh, if I give you money, you become a trustee. It's not your company because you've taken money from me. You have to work for me. You are change. So you are a fiduciary agent. You must respond. You are responsible for somebody's money. Somebody has worked very hard, saved the money given to you. You must give them returns. You must work hard for them. They trusted you. You must earn that trust. That's what I dislike. Being untrustworthy, being arrogant, thinking I'm God themselves. And let me tell you, the markets punish everybody. There's no bigger person than the market. Once they got listed, you saw what happened to all of them. They come down 70%, 8%. They're all, I'm the greatest. Because who cares? Nobody cares. The market will teach you a lesson. So you have to be humble. You have to focus on work. You have to treat people with respect. And you have to lead by example.
Great points. One more question. I think we can probably take one or two, right? So, what are the most important habits for a successful entrepreneur?
The most important habit is focus. You got to focus on what you're doing. Don't divert attention. The most important habit is perseverance. You have to persevere. You have to keep going. You have to bang your head against the wall. Even if you fall down, you're 6 feet ahead. If you're 6 feet, then the most important thing is to respect others and to become a role model and an example. And the passion that you have to get up in the morning to say, I'm going to do this till you sleep, you have that passion, energy. Entrepreneurship is 24/7. There is no work-life balance. All that bullshit, work-life balance, parties, all that is bullshit. It must consume you. That's the only way you can succeed because you are living in a very competitive world. An entrepreneur is a special animal, special person like a politician. Being a politician is very difficult. People come to your house in the morning at 5 o'clock, ask you for money, ask you for this. You have to listen to them. You have to go to many funerals in the same day, go to visit people, talk to them. They want everything. You can't give them anything, but you've got to go. It's a very hard job. So entrepreneurs are special people, and I think it's a special quality that you have. Not everybody can be. And, that's it.
Cool. I think I always subscribe to your view on that. I'm personally myself a workaholic. I don't really check how many hours I would work, and it's like you're always doing that.
Let me tell you, if you're successful, you make a lot of money. The power of money is the power to give away in your lifetime. Power of money. How much can you eat? How many houses can you have? How many cars can you have? How much can you travel? You're going to die one day. So in your lifetime, you have to be successful. You make a lot of money, give it away, help other people, and the happiness lies in helping others do well. That's the power that you should have, and that is worthwhile fighting and living your life. You understand? If you think I'm going to be a billionaire, I'm going to do okay. After that, what? John D. Rockefeller was probably the richest in history, and when he was 80, 90, he lived on human milk. His whole thing was gone, human milk. He gave away most of what he had. But he was very successful. So, Sesh, entrepreneurs are special people. And the success that you get is the experience of creativity, of doing things, of achieving, of meeting your inner need to achieve the satisfaction. If people don't praise you, forget about it. People don't say good things about it, forget about it. So long as you're honest, you have got a satisfaction of making sure your conscience is clear, and you can wake up one day and say, what have I done with my life? I have really lived my life to the full. I've had a dream. I've achieved my dream. I've done all that. Man, be happy. So if you fail, it's okay. Don't bother. But one thing I will say, keep your wants low. Live a simple life. Live a simple life. What is there? Does a big car define you? Who cares? Anybody will buy a big car. Right? Going in a private jet define you? A lot of people do that. Correct? What does it matter, right? What matters is how happy you are and achievement that you have. So be humble. The bigger you become, the more humble you become. The higher the monkey goes, the more his bottom is seen. So please be careful, okay? Wherever you go, make sure that you become more humble. And don't become arrogant to see that you are the greatest creation. There's no greater creature in the world.
Amazing. I think we would have loved to have this much longer, but you have to. I know you have to leave soon. So we will. It's a great session. I think we will take this to an end now. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
All the best, folks.